This is me, Zara Jawad, checking if I'm live here on YouTube from another tab. Hope you can hear me. This might be long. I went on live stream, Facebook. I'm very, very extremely distressed. Every fiber is hurting me. But this is not for sympathies or anything. So just checking here if it's just a life story that I think, even though, yes, so sometimes my dignity falls apart. I break, and many times I've gone on Facebook live stream not wanting to leave it because my private privacy is violated. I feel like someone's watching me, all that uh, challenges of schizophrenia. So let me see if I'm visible here. Now I am. I can see myself. And so let's see comments also. Please, this is a very sensitive time for me, and it's my life story. If anyone could learn from this, um, I don't know. I am not prepared. This is not professional. So let me see if I can. Did I share it on my Facebook? Uh, it's not. It's many people would not like this, would not approve of it or accept it because it's very personal, a life story. And but those who don't approve of it, uh, even if they want to help me, they cannot help me. I'm in such a evil spiral case, uh, evil spiral, or like evil cell. I feel like I'm in. So something triggered it recently, even more. So very. I'm not going to speak about what it was. Um, So I cannot concentrate if I'm talking and checking my live stream. I'm not prepared for this. I haven't written notes right now. So I went live stream on Facebook 3 hours and 25 minutes or so to talk about what's happened to me recently. And recently, I'll just to offend, not to offend anyone or pick on anyone, but that. I can't think straight, so the names come out, and there will be people saying that she's spreading rumors, but I was not a rumor monger, and I saw that in my life, if it came on someone I loved, I would take it on myself and be understanding and try to make myself bad and move away. But the problem was that there's something on me. I don't think the atheists will, or other people would, agree to this. There's hardly much evidence on this, unfortunately. Black magic and nazar, hasad, we say, jealousy and envy and that. And many people will laugh at it and make fun of it. Uh, some people, or many, I don't know. But there's a, if you want a proper way, like professional, then you can go to Anita Morjani's Facebook and Shirley McLean, what's her name? The and Anita Morjani has also written um, a book on this for empaths, help for empaths, right? So if you want it professionally, and like very prepared and all this. My life story, I'm not professional. Sorry, I don't mean to pick on Anita Morjani, but from in America, the your dreams can come true. You can. It's a very free country, and they help each other. Spiritual people like James Redfield also. They can write books, and they're very talented people. And so their talent is something beyond me, you see, and they do it in a proper professional way, writing books and all this, whereas my life is in a mess. And I haven't been able to pick myself out of this evil spiral thing, whatever you may call it. It's like, I tried mantras, the Hindu mantras, Indian, and recently something happened, and my mother was brought up. She was the firstborn of her parents, and then she was brought up, surprisingly, I never questioned it. The firstborn was brought up by her grand aunt, who had a Devi, uh, Hindu, Indian, Devi. And they had to, Devi told them what to do. So my mother in her childhood had to go to India with her parents for her aunt, and go to Ganga, Jamuna, Ganges, River Ganges, and all that. So the Devi was for real because she used to give stones to my aunt, my grand aunt, my mother's aunt, Zara auntie. Out of the blues, they would come, and they created some miracles and healing. The stone had some healing powers. I was told uh, my mother's puppy, aunt's father, sister's husband preyed on my brother who was very sick in the hospital when he was very young, in the children's hospital, and he was in this thing ice tub. He had very high fever. So the stone, long time ago, that Devi had given to her brother-in-law worked on him. The doctors just had to wait and given up, or had put him in a ice tub. The fever was not going. He had very, very high fever. I don't know how much. So uh, her brother-in-law, my grandaunt's brother-in-law, who had that stone given to him by Devi, uh, through my aunt. Through my grandaunt, his sister-in-law. Put that ring around my brother, who was very ill, and then he recovered. So recently, the Devi has been, I feel, I don't know, but through me, communicating to me certain things, very subtle things, and all this, that a person can get into trouble, and I would have, but a sacrifice sometimes is needed. So, anyhow, I don't, recently, I went down in this, my old case, Karachi American School. I've made a Facebook group on that. It's for public. So I was, I came back from London, so a little bit about my Karachi American School story. I came back from London, and I think from childhood I was very attached. I used to get attached to a teacher in the school, things like that. And but the moment I left school, then it was okay. Uh, but during my time in school, anyways, in London, I wasn't attached to any teacher in school. I had a lovely teacher, class teacher. I remember her. She sent, I think, no, she sent me a gift. Yeah, I think she sent me a gift when I was in the hospital for my appendicitis. So I came back from London. We were living in London before I went for law. Um, m- um, um, like much later in my life, for law. But before that, my family had gone to London, and we lived there for I think 2 years, 3 years, and then we went back to Karachi. Originally, my father's from United Arab Emirates. So I've had a terrible childhood when my wicked grandmother was there in Karachi, and so I saw the most treacherous things a person can do, the most cunning thing a person can do to a child. My grandmother, father's mother, was really a wicked lady, and cunningly she used to plan things against me, and she wouldn't get caught. But I turned out that, people would start to say that what a child she has started to abuse and all this. So the way I was molded and brought up to abuse her, even, and then my mother would take me in a room and punish me and tell me, "You will not abuse your grandmother." That was her mother-in-law at the time, and they also had wrecked her life, uh, my mother's life, but thank God she was able to get up. My father told me that sometimes before I was born, my mother was not able to get up from her bed. Same thing is happening to me right now. A very negative energy and all this, right? So, and my mother used to say that what these in-laws of hers did, and that she loved them, but that they didn't love her, and they would mentally torture her and say things like, make her do things. So now we hear about covert narcissists, and they are even worse than, I guess, murderers. I don't know. If you read Treason, written by Cicero on treason, you can see that Cicero also writes that a murderer is less to be, what does he write about that? The murderer is less to be feared. So all my life, when okay, so no, so I came from London and finally joined Karachi American School because my father's friend's wife was a librarian, high school librarian there, and so they took us because we were foreigners in Karachi also, like we had the United Arab Emirates passport. I didn't know then. I thought I was a Pakistani in a way. I never put my mind on the passport thing because we lived most of our lives in Karachi. And anyhow, so I joined Karachi American School, and I was missing London, or I wasn't adjusting. I'm not a well adjusted. I don't adapt very well or adjust quickly to the new environment. Although I came back to Karachi, but uh, I was not going to school, missing school. That's how things, like, and I would only go for my sports class because I love sports, and I remembered that, oh, on this day is my sports day. So when my mother would wake me up, I would get up and all that, go to school. But the rest, I would not go. So anyhow, then what happened is I was there my first year in Karachi American School. I remember my physical education teacher was a Pakistani Goan origin Catholic Christian teacher. And I started, what I, there was a friend of mine in third grade. I had to repeat third grade because of my absentees were many. So Nicole, a friend of my classmate, and I used to go to the gym, and we would play basketball there during our recess time. we wouldn't go to the playground. And I don't know, like we had timed ourselves, and then again we would go back to class like that. So we would take the basketball from our teacher, PE teacher, Miss Asteria Desa, and play there. So since she used to give us the basketball to play, uh, one day I offered her. I think I went after school, or no, in during that recess time, maybe I offered her some sweets and all candies. So she told me, "No, dear, I don't have candies or chewing gum." So this was the first year in Karachi American School, and then second year, uh, something I don't know, after school, once something happened, and so with a classmate and me, another one, so we had to see Miss Disa, and then we got a lecture from Miss Disa, and so what happened is that was after school. So I started to go after school to her office and waiting for her, and then I started to walk with her. American school was quite huge. We had an elementary side, a high school side, and all this. So Miss Desa would have to, in the end, after school, go to the office, and then from there to the parking lot. So I would not follow her. I would walk with her. So a habit formed, and this is how I got attached to my teacher in Karachi American School. And she told me that we're friends after school and all this. So there was so much, the overwhelming feeling started for my teacher that later on, after, in the sixth year, I was told that she's, we had a different disposition, personality, and I was very wild for her and too much, you know, like please, 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 I beg you to do, give me your bag, I'll carry it, and she would say no, and I was a different person, she was a different person, and my it wasn't like I came from my mother's side, also Khoja Sindhi Pakistani, and my grandaunt, her aunts were really great. They had their doors open for us all the time. We never heard them ever say that they are busy or anything. So I was a spoiled. I was very pampered in that way, like get attention from my aunts. They never grandaunts even, and they never told us that they were busy or anything, right? This is our culture, uh, and my culture that I grew up in, my upbringing, my background. So I don't know what it was, but for Miss Desai, I adored her, even though she was strict with me. But since I came from a Shia family, I felt that she was like, Imam Ali. um, Principalized and truth, speak the truth. And so this way, I really liked it when she taught me and she went out of her way to give me lectures and make New Year's resolutions and stick to my words and promises and change. And she would come to my birthdays, the first birthday, I think, with a sister from Canada. Her sister's children came to my birthday, but her sister had to go somewhere else to her friend's place. But Miss Disa came to my place for my birthday. It was Eid also, Eid al-Adha, 1979, and things like that. So she started coming to my birthdays every time I invited her, And then when her mother passed away in 1980, she was mourning for the whole year for her mother. So she could not make it to my birthday nor the family wedding we had in Karachi. So, like that, she used to come for dinner when I invited her. But she was sometimes very strict, very firm with me. And that her way was different. So it was taking me time as a child to change and discipline myself to be the way Miss Tissa wanted me to be. And, not to beg her too much. When she says, no, I don't want you to carry my bag as we walked after school to our car, the teacher's parking lot was different from the student's parking lot. She would say no, that would mean no. She told me when I say no, it means no, and all this. So these kind of things I didn't understand. And she thought when I used to beg her, and I kept doing that, and then she would stop talking to me, and I didn't understand where she was coming from. She didn't understand where I was coming from. I was very coming on strong on her being stubborn that I want to, carry your bag, please, please, Allah, Mr. San. You have two bags to carry, just give me one. But she never gave me that one bag even to carry. For the 6 years that I was with her in Karachi American School, after school, and we were friends after school, she told me that. So later on, I think she had enough or something, I was told. But I was told that by her that you should go and see a psychologist, which the school has here now. She's come. Dr. Todd was her name, but she was a female, and you should see a psychiatrist. So I didn't agree to her. I said, no, I don't want to see a psychiatrist. Uh, but then I decided, I thought about it, I think, and as far as I remember, because this was now 1982, and so I said I agreed, and she told me after school that she was praying that I go to a psychiatrist. Now the school psychiatrist had come, and she was living very close to Karachi American School, walking distance. Anyway, so I had to go to her. This American doctor, female psychologist had come. She wasn't a psychiatrist, but so later on I found out the difference between a psychiatrist and a therapist. So I didn't have to take medication. She took some of my tests and all this, and she was nice until she met Mr. Sa, and I thought from there she grew cold on me, and she transferred me then when I said I want to leave because they were sending me to the library, and Dr. Todd told me that my relationship with Mr. Sa is unhealthy. Uh, so I thought it was like they mean by too much of this. My ways are too much for her, and she can't work properly, and I've been disturbing her. Um, but I used to follow her home from 1977 when I joined Karachi American School, came back from London. So it started in 1978, maybe like that. Um, she she never. It's like she did say sometimes that my life, I have a private life and all this, and why are you following me? If her like our house, so she would until the roundabout, we would depart. So from Karachi American School in my car, and I would keep my car behind her car. So this, but she came to my birthdays, and whenever I invited her, she came, unless there was something very serious, you know. So She kept going with me till nine. We were family friends now. My family members knew her until 1983. No, 82. She said that I should go to a doctor. So obsessive, you know. I thought this was now you. I can put words to it properly. Obsession, obsessive love, mental disorder. And this is what I thought it was until later on rumors started to uh, spread in the school. I left Karachi American School because I felt I should leave. And then when I wanted to go back, uh, their laws, rules were strict. They would not take a student that has left herself back. My father went, spoke to the superintendent there, Mr. Horton, and showed my uh, grades from another school and my conduct report. They would not take me back because they said it's against their school rules. Ah, so the thing is that later on I thought there was another thing going on. These new people had come in my father's family, uh, two sisters who got married to my father's brothers, two brothers younger, and the youngest one. And so they gave a hard time to me, and they tried to mess up my birthday, 15th birthday, 1983, where Miss Desai had come. And I felt that they were also spreading these rumors and all this, that this is a bad lesbian thing or something. I I thought it came from them, but I don't know. Uh, and they had a fight with me outside my house that night on my birthday, and they wouldn't allow the singers to sing. We had made a group, and we used to go, like in weddings and all that. Friends, groups, this one's friends, this one who knows their wedding, go there and sing and all this. By this time, there were male uh, who had now joined our group, and they wouldn't allow these male ones to in our group to sing. And then their mother threatened to do black magic on me. She went to a mutual friend, and so I just kept it on God. I said, I don't believe in these things. I believe in the glory of God, and I believe in God alone, His might, and all this. But something happened to me. I felt restless, and I went to Miss Desai's place, and I felt scared. I told her like I'm scared, and by then also my aunt, very strange things were happening. Like my aunt got possessed in my room, and it was troublesome. It was scary. I used to go. I had to wake up. Like I would sleep late. I was a late sleeper. So 3 in the morning, my aunt gets up and says someone is coming, and then she got possessed. So now I felt that this was all planned against me. My father came from Singapore, and my aunt, my mother's sister, middle, no, younger, second youngest one, was in my room, and he told me like, when will she go? Because it's disturbing your schooling. She should not be there. So I felt like someone had planned this to do this. Nelly, hey Zara, it's important to dissect your life. Keep all the pleasant memories and discard. Erase the not so pleasant experience in life. In conclusion, everything that ever happens has to happen. Yes, it happens, has to happen. Um, Thank you for this, Nelly. So But this story might, it's not as easy as this you say it is, pleasant memories. I wouldn't even stick with pleasant memories, because any pleasant memory that I had, I never had, I had very few pleasant memories, because everything in my life has backfired. Most of my relationships backfired. So, yes, the memory with my teacher, I never got a chance. It just got ugly, worse, and things like that. In conclusion, everything that ever happens has to happen. So, do you believe that I should just like stop this story and go with the memories, live by pleasant memories, and not give a life lesson story that might help people who are drowning? Because there are some hypocrites out there. Uh, what happens is that there could be someone out there innocent but trapped. So this story is leading to that. There are innocent people. There could be innocent people in prison, and the hypocrites are very. I now contemplated are very disciplined, and covert narcissists are there to gaslighters, and they uh, spoil people's lives. They wreck people's life to no end at times if they are not saved on time, or if help doesn't come to them on time. They can be wrecked to no end. And those working in jobs and having jobs, you know, there too, I feel that there are people, bosses, and people are not so good outside. Like the I feel that they are not that compassionate, that they are selfish. So my life story was that in short, like my teacher, I felt that if I was to be a teacher and if I was to help someone, then her problem would be my problem. My student, my friend after school, or my family friend should be, um, my problem. No, you should dissect your story. That's brave for the benefit of humanity from the outcomes you will sign up with. Thank you, great soul. Thank you so much. Oh, so sorry, I misunderstood you. I'm so grateful for this. Thank you so much. So I should dissect my story. This is what I felt that the Zara auntie's Devi, like I mentioned earlier in the story, was that recently she was telling me to uh, make it public, and I said some things, like so, like I should respect the privacy of someone, the reputations of people. I wanted to gracefully walk away from, but found myself in this obsession. Uh, so thank you, yes, Nelly. Thank you for so much for the encouragement. This really means a lot to me. I've been alone. I've been isolated because of the condition. I can't even walk to the grocery store. Uh, I'm incapacitated to a great extent. And I believed in miracles and believed in God and so much this. So thank you for being here also and listening to my story. I'm so grateful I cannot say. And you are a greater soul than I am. Um, so this is such it's a generous compliment for me. But what great soul. What happened is The teacher I loved, even today I went back to that memory lane, hellish. The teacher I loved, so 6 years I was with that teacher. She used to come to my place and all this. And I wouldn't have to force her, but she came to my birthdays whenever I invited her, and she. But after the separation, I felt that they didn't give me due justice, and so I believe that the teacher and I could solve this, and it should not go to an outsider like a psychiatrist or a therapist. Even then, when I thought about it, I was 14 years old. I felt no psychiatrist would be able to help if both of us don't cooperate, if we want the relationship, and that we should understand each other and also accept each other's weaknesses. If they're like, she could be a little more mild and we could work it out together. Since 6 years being together, and I've known her for whole family, it was difficult. So what happened is, before also they said this is a child who's obsessed, and then I became a teenager, and I would have left, like I would have gotten married. My father was saying that I would get my daughter married when you are 12, when you graduate from 12th grade, Karachi American School. So maybe I thought if we had not severed ties, and Karachi American School would not have been so wicked, we could have, to sever ties like that was also unhealthy. If they said that my relationship with her was unhealthy, uh, it was coming purely from the heart. Yes, there was some wild, untamed love for her. So if I'd go to her house, I want to spend more time with her, like 5 minutes more, and this maybe she'd. So this is what we could have worked on. But that if she doesn't want me, when she says no, it's a no, and I shouldn't be begging her still to to carry her bag and all this. Anyways, she was 40 decades, I think, older to me. 40 decades, right? And never in my life has it been that I was not straight, because, these Iranian Emiratis came, my father's community side. Uh, they were quite beautiful, as the men would think. And they had other sisters, like two of the sisters came in the family, now married to my father's brothers. But the three other sisters, one was very young at that time, my age, but I was friends with the older sister, and she was considered very, very beautiful. And my cousin was after her, right? And so what happened is, if I was if I was not straight, I didn't have to go for a 40 decades old woman teacher who was also like, not, I mean, dark and all this. This one was fair, Irani side from the mother side. Father side, like my community, father's Emirati, Luwadi. So if I was like that, I would have at least done something with her. Like, we used to go to the bathroom together sometimes at the weddings. She would check her hair and all this, and she had very long hair, and she was very attractive and all. So I thought they were saying that it's an obsession. And then, in the separation, uh, Fatal Attraction movie came out, and I got scared of myself even more, the love, because now I was trespassing there. I wasn't accepting the separation, not only not going back to Karachi American School, where there were also many facilities and all this. Swimming pool was great. No one was looking at us. The bearers were of Karachi American School, well trained. The staff members were well trained, like that, right? So I liked that environment. So until my brother was there, I used to go there for the facilities. They allowed me. My father had gone there and asked them. So, but they weren't talking to me and my mother. Only my father used to go there and take this permission and talk to the board of directors also. So where was I now? So the obsession, I thought it was a mental. You see, now we have these atheists and all. Also, my case is very difficult. Uh, so how they, I thought an enemy behind me later on in London. I was told in 1996 when I went there for the law studies. Um, they told me a clairvoyant told me that there's a woman. There's someone, not a woman. She said someone is after you, a sorcerer, and it's very, very. She told me the symptoms, and she told me I should have been bedridden, a vegetable, but I wasn't. So, anyways, before that, 6 years of separation, but then things changed. I thought I got a miracle from God. I don't know. When I joined St. Joseph's College. But before that, what happened is I felt like a sinner. I felt very like I would watch these movies and sometimes feel scared of the love that I had for Miss Tissa. That, I mean, harm her family or something, but I didn't want to harm her family. I was actually harming myself. I wanted to die. So, torture myself to not go there and to forget her. So it became an obsessive thing, which I couldn't, except I couldn't let go of. I accepted that this was now later on in year 1989. I said, oh my God, this is an emotional attachment to my teacher. It's not true love. And, the teacher that had taught me to be truthful, to speak the truth, to say what I mean, um, in all circumstances, and never to even see anything gossip. I never learned from my mother. We never used to compare families, or not even compare ourselves to others. So what we had, and we used to compare, like, try to be good human beings and good Shias and all that. But some weaknesses we had, like movies and Indian, liking to Indian movies and English movies and songs and all that. So I wasn't from that very strict Shia family, but a prayer of Allama Rashid Torabi, because my mother had some problems in her life, in her marriage. For the year she got married, in-laws were not so good, and then her firstborn died, her daughter, infant. Her name was Farah. Then she wouldn't get children and all this stuff. And my mother also had some emotional problems due to psychological problems due to this family, my father's family. The way they treated her, she was 13 years old when she got married into this family, married to my father. And they tortured her and all this. So you can see the covert narcissist thing. All right, video again, I'm repeat. And then with this, my I felt so my grandmother was very wicked. I felt like I was jinxed. Later on, I could use this word because one of my cousins used it for his life, and things were going very bad. In London, also, my father's family, uh, they were not so good. They discriminated against us. My mother would not join them for picnics. and my cousin used me and all this. So I felt like, okay, so this Karachi American School thing, attachment to a teacher, they made me feel, because I was going there and trespassing now. My father told me a story that when two friends separated, one of the friends went to the door, the house of the friend. They had a fight, a kind of a disagreement, and then the friend was had stopped. They had stopped talking. So one friend, decided to go to the friend's house, ask for forgiveness. But what happened is, yeah. So he stood outside the friend's house door, and he stood the whole night there quietly until morning. And then when the friend opened the door of his house, he saw his friend and he forgave his friend. So I went there to Miss Desa's house. First, I think I wrote letters to her, and no, I think also going to her house, and she explained to me, said that some people have to separate like that. But I had a nervous breakdown there, and then my mother came. She had called my mother. I wasn't leaving the house. I wanted a reconciliation and that she would see me and not separate from me. I could understand. So I think I was 16 years old then, or 15 and a half. No, 16 and a half, something like that. 16 or 16 and a half. So, but then obsession and the guilt. Many years later, 1988, in the separation years, I told Miss Desai in Karachi, you know how it is in Karachi, even the neighbors won't complain. Police won't come like that unless you complain. So I told her, why don't you call the police on me now? Because I felt my life was wrecked hell without her. With her, it's heaven. Without her, it's hell. So she told me if she wanted to call the police on me, she would have done it many years before, right? Because we got separated in, I think, 1984. So there's this thing here, uh, you know, that is this American school, Karachi American school, said that Dr. Todd, that this is obsessive. No, she said it's unhealthy. Now recently I was like, yes, I have been a criminal. It's innocent love for Miss Tissa, 40 decades older to me, a teacher. Goan, a Christian Catholic, not even American teacher, but a PE teacher in Karachi American School. So obsessive love disorder. What is obsessive love disorder? Well, healthline.com. Obsessive love disorder refers to a condition where you become obsessed with one person you think you may be in love with. You might feel the need to protect your loved one obsessively or even become controlling of them as they were a possession. So like this, right? So the society, the people, they think this is a crime, and uh, I think I would have uh, gotten married after 12th grade, and if the marriage was good, we could have, like Miss Desa had ex-students still with, like her friends. A very close friend of hers was an ex-student, a Parsi. overwhelming attraction to one person. So it turned out that it became worse. Yeah. So I started to go to therapists, and the Dr. Todd transferred me to Mrs. Hassan. She now, since I left the Karachi American School, she said, now you go to this Institute of Clinical Psychology in Karachi. She transferred me there to Mrs. Hassan, who was doing a PhD under Dr. Farooqi Ahmed's uh, pupillage, right? And then Dr. Farooqi Ahmed also saw me, the head of the institute, the founder of the Institute of Clinical Psychology, a Kashmiri Punjabi woman. Um, so now, remember at first I didn't want to go to a psychiatrist. I thought we should work it out together, Miss Desai and I, and should not get a third person involved in this. Uh, so it's not going to help separate and go to a therapist because as if the problem is me, right? And as a child, I couldn't understand that I loved Miss Desai with a pure heart, pure feelings, truly pure affection. So whenever we had this, she would come. You see, we always, she was always training me, and sometimes she would pick on me in class, but she used to always give me, like she used to go out of her way to lecture me where I should speak the truth and all this and say what I mean. And so my heart would be beating fast, and during the PE time, sometimes I would act weird, so she would pick on me for that, acting weirdly and things like that. So, but it was pure love. I don't know how it could have backfired. Like I was a criminal now. It got worse. During the separation, I used to go to the doctor. I had no rest. I was restless, and I was in agony. I barely made it through. Finally, I adjusted to one school in Karachi, CAS. But there, I had terrible. I was very depressed. It was hell for me. So uh, going there, it got worse. Going to Miss Desas's place got worse. Once like jumping on a car and all this. I just it was like a suicide thing. So felt that, uh, and then recently I was like, talk. I thought Devi was communicating with me, but then I thought, I don't know what this was. Maybe I'm wrong. I did wrong. Don't. I was not forgiving myself. Just acting very the same of unforgiving for myself. Like, why did it have to happen to me? This, that I became a criminal, loving a teacher, innocent, but you know what? This is obsessive. And then the Americans gave us this movie, Fatal Attraction. Although the attraction for Miss Tissa was not like that, but the obsession was there. Now I couldn't let go of her. I couldn't accept it. I was shocked. My Later on, my therapist said, "You're shocked." After how many years? 85. I was transferred there by Dr. Todd. So that same therapist told me in 1989, I think, that you are shocked, or in 1988. So I couldn't accept it. And she used to tell me, like, give a pat on your back because, hard work. Miss Disa, I felt um, it was difficult for me to be with her, but I loved her so much. I adored her. And now we have this. But before, that's what I thought, that it was this. But the rumor spread in CAS. Now, who could spread? I was like, how could people be so mean? I mean, I have seen, of course, my grandmother was very wicked to do something to a kid, 3.5 year old, what she did. But then later on, like somehow closing my eyes to this wickedness, I think like how can people be so wicked, so mean that I'm depressed and it's rumors, false rumors spread. So in CS, one of the junior student came up to me and said, there's a rumor spread against you, being spread in the school, and you're a nice person, and I want you to know this. There's someone is spreading this rumor against you, that you kissed a girl and that's why you got kicked out of Karachi American School. I could barely make it to that school, and in that hell, that restlessness, and crying. 2:30 would come and I would be like, Miss Tissa doesn't even remember me, uh, because you see that was after school. We used to meet in her office, like then she told me I'll just stand outside her office. Like if I'd go inside her office and talk to her, she would sometimes forget her car keys, like that. So I never jumped on her or never. I just touched. Once I would just got up in her house and touched her hair. I said, Miss Desai, you have such straight hair, without her permission. So, but I really didn't have any feelings, like attraction or anything. I was supposed to marry my cousin. Um, But thank God I got over that. But I was a girl boy person. And in London, living in London, it had made me very independent, even though I was with my brother. My brother and I would go to High Street and shop. My father had lots of money. So there was never any budget. Like we would take their £10 whenever I wanted to shop. My mother would not come with us. Only I and my brother, younger brother, would go. So I became very independent like that. But even then, like in London, also, I never touched a girl or anything. I used to go for swimming, and before going to the swimming pool, we need to take a shower. So there was a lady there who used to come. I never. Uh, So where my shower, I used to take a shower. Then the lady would come, and there was no problem there. I was going to school there. I had three female friends. We were three, I think. Lucy, Philadelphia, and another one, and I, or two of them and I. So they never complained against me. Never did I do anything to them. I was even invited to Lucy's birthday. I was in Cavendish School in London, and I never felt any attraction for any girl. So I think the separation, how they severed the ties without mutual consent, made me more obsessive. For 6 years, I suffered until I felt like some black slate lifted from my uh, body when I was lying down, and I thought God had graced me with this. I could now move on and love someone in a healthy way. And I found my principal there in St. Joseph's College. And so I asked Bibi Mariam. By then, I had chosen Bibi Mariam, Isa al Masih, Jesus Christ's mother, for help and intercession, guidance also, and for her to pray for me because I felt that she was very quick. God gave me miracle in 1989 when I joined St. Joseph's College. And another thing happened before I joined St. Joseph's College. I was after O levels. I joined St. Michael's School, where they were all Christian, some Christian teachers and all. It was like a convent school, and the vice principal was Mrs. Ann Nazareth in Karachi in that school, St. Michael's. I joined A levels, but somehow shortcut because Mrs. Ann Nazareth died of a heart attack. She had told me, I went up to her and I said, "Do you know Mr. Sa?" She said, "Not only do I know Mr. Sa, we used to play, we were hockey partners long time ago." So I said, "Hockey partners?" Because, hockey is a whole team. So she said, "Yes, because, we were in the defense line. So there are only two in the defense line, right?" So I know about this because I've been a hockey, uh, I've been in the hockey team and I've played hockey and I've been a center forward and all this. So I said, "Yes, so two in the back are the defense players." So she said, "Yeah, we used to be like partners and play together long time ago." That was, and she died of heart failure. And then after 6 months, her sister died. Of her sister, she spoke to me about something. Um, Jessica, her sister, died after her death. Her sister, Mrs. Ann Nazareth's death. So I found that very strange. And then that was 1989. I started going. When I saw Mrs. Ann Nazareth in a coffin, oh, like death always is so near. You can never say. And love is so important more than life. And why waste time like this? Reach out to your loved ones. And when I saw this movie, also, okay, so, about a teacher going out of her way to help the students, I was like, this is my heart's thing, what I really love in a teacher should do. I saw Dangerous Minds, American movie, Michelle Pfeiffer or Sharon Stone. I think it's Michelle Pfeiffer was in it. She was a teacher, Dangerous Minds. So she used to go out of her way and how she handled these dangerous mind students. It was like my dream come true. That this is how I would love the teachers to be. So I felt, being too critical of children and criticizing them heavily, we can do it in a more loving way rather than being too strict with them and criticizing them heavily. So I did tell Miss Desha once that you don't treat me nice, well, or something like this, and she said, "Shall I put you on my head?" So that, you know. Anyways, I just kept quiet, Miss. Like sometimes I used to be shocked at her answers, but I loved her, and so this severance brought about obsessive love disorder. And have I missed something? Um, and made me into a criminal, a trespasser. That poor old lady. I used to go to her house, disturb the living daylights. Then her sister came from Canada, retired. Sister, she had retired from her work in Canada, so she came to Karachi, and I was so grateful that her sister is with her. But I couldn't stop going there. Then what happened is about Miss Tissa's ways in during the separation, when I shifted to a new house. Somehow, when I called her, there was one time she said, in 1989, now in the separation, when I was in St. Michael's School, she told me, I'll talk to you over the phone. She agreed to speak to me once a week, and that's in the sixth year of our separation. So I was very happy for that. But, that song, uh, Richard Marx, Oceans Apart, day after day, and I slowly go insane. I hear your voice on the line, and it doesn't stop the pain. But she did not allow me to come to her place. And then once something happened, and I said, "Oh, I was scared that, I might get a cold reply from you." I was always scared that I call her up once a week, and one of those weeks she might give me a reply, or, not speak to me. So she said to me, "What makes you think I will leave you just like that?" And that really, like, then what made you leave me, sever ties, just so maybe not just like that, but without giving a proper. So she had not given me a reason. I once called her and said, "Please, Mr. Sa, tell me, if you hated me, you stopped loving me. What is the gospel truth? Please tell me." She's just said, "I will talk to your doctors." So, and then in 1989, maybe, God knows what happened, that she agreed to speak to me over the phone once a week. And that also ended in a disaster, because I think I got, like, I could understand. It was, I, Mrs. Ann Nazareth died, or what happened. Some things happened. My brother's graduation, I told her, "Come, come," because Karachi American School, he was graduating from the same school. She's been a teacher for many years now. And when I was there, so she said to me, she will come. And I said, "Wear a sari, because I'm going to wear a sari too for my brother's graduation in Karachi American School." She did not turn up. So once Miss Desas says something, she would tell me, what I do that. If I say no, it means no. If I say yes, it means yes. She didn't turn up, and I just had a very bad night that day when I came back from the graduation. Uh, so this happened to me, obsessive love disorder. And this is, and I felt like a criminal, trespassing, things like that. And I felt very like low self-esteem, uh, criminal. This is what the American way of seeing love. So I thought all this yesterday, like Radha Rani's, like the all this, since this obsessive love disorder, and since I felt that Devi was through me talking and communicating and letting me see what I'm seeing, but telling me that yes, this is right. What you perceived here was right about this person, or what you perceived there was right about this person, right? Like that. So It was extreme, again, excruciating pain about someone. And I was in a, so, but in the end, I felt that Maha Babaji was also communicating to me about certain matter. And so in the end, I said no to them. I said, I don't believe anything you say to me. But then they told me, look, it's what you perceived. So we're telling you if it's right or wrong. I said, yeah, that's right. But, you know, uh, if I get, if I get a person like this, like some people who gaslighters, even at workplace, or anyways, I can't work anymore, and I've passed the age now. So if I get someone like that, uh, who can trap you, or you'll have to leave the workplace. A boss like a gaslighter, or someone who's so like wants to hypocrite or two-faced. Like we have this in Pakistan, they don't leave their chair, and even abroad like America or someone, job career orientated. So those poor people who sacrificing and don't want to complain, uh, they see something, they're very perceptive, maybe they catch on something, empaths. How Anita Morjani talks about empaths, and already my past like that felt like a sinner, felt like a criminal, felt like I should be a convict, Miss Desau's convict, a prisoner. I should have been in prison. Uh, the trespassing I did, and the disturbance I caused her. And at the same time, I was disturbed and I didn't want to hurt the person. I started to go to the church she was going to and ask that God that, you have given her so much patience, why not me? And pray to that God that she prays to in church, and hurting the person I love. And another thing was that I felt that Miss Disa had, sometimes I would blame this poor old lady, uh, elderly lady, sorry, older to me, uh, my teacher, now ex-teacher, that she wants my life. She wants me to look like the bad person. Uh, she has wrecked my life. But thank God in CAS, they gave me respect. My principal, then Mrs. Najma Shamsi, she gave me her number, her house address when I spoke to her about this case of mine. And because the rumors people had spread against me, and I had a friend with me who was always by my side in CAS. So uh, when this girl came to me, student, a junior to me, told me that I think you should do something about this because you're a nice person and rumors are spreading against you. I said they're false. I did not kiss a girl in Karachi American School. Uh, and they started to spread these rumors that I'm a lesbian and I was kicked out of Karachi American School because I kissed a girl there. So, oh, and another thing was very about a friend of mine in Karachi American School who had joined in high school, seventh grade. She came from Sharjah. Her father was in a hotel management. So, Intercontinental, he was the manager. Oh, sorry, he was not in hotel management, but he was the manager of Intercontinental. now Pearl Continental in Pakistan, Karachi. So they lived there. They came from Sharjah and they lived in uh, Intercontinental in Karachi, which is now Pearl Continental. So she joined Karachi American School when I was in seventh grade high school. That was our high school now, starting of our high school. So she once, what happened is during the free period, she started to go in eighth grade, I think, uh, meet a boy, and I slightly slapped her on the face, uh, like a older sister to her. I slapped her on the face. I said, "What? Why are you going?" Like I didn't know she was leaving because my free period was in another classroom, and her free period was in another classroom. And sometimes in our free period, we used to go to Dr. Webster, the guidance counselor that had come now when I reached high school. So she was taking off from school on her free periods. We're not allowed that. And then she told me that her father or her mother were stepfather or stepmother, and she's been caught. The school has caught her doing this. So she was going to put it on me, tell her parents that I was taking her to this boy to meet him. So I said, okay, put it on me. So when a stepmother or mother, I don't know, came to school, she was called, the parent was called to meet the guidance counselor and this. She looked at me like, in a very terrible way. So I thought, like, was someone trying to trap me, get my name marred? Um, there was also another incident where they had high school. When I was in sixth grade, that was not high school. We had a girl who now they tell me is Mariam Williamson, the coach, spiritual guide in America, very famous now. Mariam Williamson, Marian Williamson. She looked like her, and that's the height hair she had when she was younger. This girl, and so they had when I was in sixth grade. There was a high school students used to come, lovebirds. They used to be kissing outside the auditorium door. One of my friend used to say, "Look, I want to see this. I want to see this," and I'd say, "No, no, come on." But anyways, I would stand with her there, and they would be kissing and all this. And I was told that the boyfriend is high position. His father's had holds a high position in some thing, company or some place. So that's why even Mr. Horton cannot say anything to them, right? So I just went my life about my life because that was none of my business because it wasn't my aunt or, you know, nothing to do with me. It was the school's business. And this was against the school rules. But I was not a chuhli khor, meaning going back at, this thing, going and complaining behind someone's back. I already was told that, look, this boy's father or someone is it in a very high position in America or, or I don't know, Canada or somewhere. And he had become our Santa Claus, where we take pictures with the Santa Claus in sixth grade, elementary school. So then what happened is they also brought the high school people with the elementary students, high school students, and had PE class together. So there was this girl who used to wear shorts in a way that would show her private part. And I've 6 years that I was in, as far as I was in a Karachi American school, I never saw a girl wearing shorts like her. Um, so I never said anything. She used to sit. We were made in the gym to sit on the ground first, and then do some warm ups, and then whether start the game. So once I think Miss Disa said something to her, and she started to abuse Miss Disa. So, and I saw that no one stood up for her. Miss Disa was quiet. And since I had heard that her boyfriend was at a high position, I felt that she was very rude with Miss Disa. But they didn't ask her to leave Karachi American School. She abused Miss Disa. She was shouting out loud, "You are a bitch! You are such a bitch!" And all this, right? Like that. Sorry for using that language. So I got up and I said, "You, you are like a prostitute. You are a prostitute. You've been kissing your boyfriend outside the auditorium." So I felt that someone had, in retrospect now, that since I didn't say anything there, because there was a aunt of mine long time ago when she was in Karachi, uh, standing, they used to, and I started to say that I don't like this man. She sees, she's seeing. Atik was his name. So that was my aunt, and she used to take me to Atik's place. And she would sit in the bedroom, that everything was clean until she was leaving the house. And surprisingly, Atik's house was like when I joined St. Joseph's College. You see, so this was long time ago when I was like 3.5 years old, 4 years old, or like that. Um, uh, this Ahmad, this Happy Homes furniture, we were renovating our house. So there was a Kashmiri from Happy Homes, Ahmad uncle, who started to renovate our house, and Atik used to come with him. And when I looked at in his eyes, he would have this terrible look for me in his eyes. I didn't like him. I never said anything until I saw my aunt, my father's sister, youngest sister, going to his place. And I started to complain against Atik. And this is perhaps where my even my wicked grandmother started to punish me. But look, at his house, his room, I remember, was here, like the room one of St. Joseph. Sorry, I have to show you this. It's really surprising. Sorry, I mean no copyrights, subject to copyrights. So on the right side, do you see this hallway up on the first floor? They used to stand there and do the kiss. No, I didn't see them kissing, but he would. I saw. I was very small. I could hardly reach maybe the knees of their knees, right? And so he used to. Sorry to say this, but he's very bad. So the ear thing, not the kissing. So I feel like from childhood, someone is after me, and of course, I know about my wicked grandmother and my wicked aunt. So this right side, you see the right, and the left side, first floor, room one. This is room one here. This opening here on the first floor. Same lighting, big room. Atik had, and my aunt used to sit there on his bed. So I was like, what is this in my life in retrospect? Because I went through like a, one bad incident after another till they made me feel like a criminal, and also got Miss Disa for it because I wouldn't get any peace, any rest until I went to her house. Not 1 second of peace, rest. Getting up early morning, having Valiums, trying to kill myself. So could it be that my aunt and her mother, wicked mother, were after me, or is it my father involved in this, or who is involved? Very, and coincidentally here, and a teacher of mine, I had problem because my Miss Tissa was a teacher in St. Joseph's College, this college in Karachi, Sadar. Long time ago, the principal was also her student when she was a teacher in this college. Surprisingly, there, when I had a problem, my general history teacher told me to tell her my problem. So I said, no, miss, I'll talk to the principal about this because, my admission was done by through Mrs. Blossom and to the principal. We went straight in the principal's office. So I said, no, miss, I'll speak to the principal. And she may not have liked this, but she kept it against me for the rest of my time in St. Joseph's College. But one thing she said was, do you see, is your problem, do you see boys? Do you see X rated movies? Oh, God. So, very cool. So, upstairs, second floor, and then coming down. Yes, X rated, not movies, but in real life, I've seen things because my aunt used to take me to Atik's place. And standing here, he would do something to her, bad to her ear. And I thought they were fooling around. And I didn't like it. And so I opened my mouth when I was 3.5 years old against my aunt, my grandmother's daughter. And so already she was jealous of her mother, sister, daughter in law, my mother. So they gave her a hard time. But then she did something wicked to me. Maybe because of this, or that she was wicked, anyways. And her husband had left her but came back, and she would not accept her husband. He came to Karachi, used to come and, bring things for my mother from India. But he got married in India, and now my grandmother, would not accept him. Okay, so this, you see, so the standing part, and then the standing part in Karachi American School, which is inside. I can't show you Karachi American School. I don't want to, they have very strict, uh, I don't want to get into more trouble with that or about my life story here. I don't want, yeah, someone can complain and then they can remove this live stream or something like this. So uh, you cannot imagine the guilt, punishing myself. Miss Disa would not call the police on me, but in the end, she finally wrote a letter to me through her lawyer because by now I had knocked off her back door and the Guaz door, two doors. thinking that she has lied to me, and so I'd done this. And these poor, her sister was there, oldest sister, eldest, and they ran away from the house. They had to leave from the front door. So that was bad. Then their neighbor came from upstairs, Auntie Bella, and I said, let's not touch anything. And, I was like, you lied to me, and I'm not a lesbian because there was a Gule from Karachi American School. She was senior to us. She graduated before I left college, before I left, sorry, Karachi American School. I met her later with a friend of mine who was graduating in his graduating ceremony um, and party or something. He invited me. So Gule saw me, ex-student of Karachi American School, and came up to me and all I could hear, I heard one thing, that you're a lesbian or something like that. So luckily for me, I was Miss Disa had agreed, like I said before, in 1989, that she would talk to me every week. So I called Miss Disa and I said, since you've been separated from me, rumors and CS, and now even 1989, this is the sixth year of our separation. And Gule, Miss Tissa remembers Gule, and she said, oh, Gule has become a teacher's aide here. And I will speak to her, and then, you know, I will let you know. I said, Gule came up to me and started to scold me about being a lesbian again. So I was getting all this thing. And then later on, I went to Miss Desa's place when she didn't come for the graduation of my brother. She had told me over the phone. And then there was some time when she said she was not going to be there, but she was. I saw her when I went there. I saw that her lights were open, that she did not leave. She said she was going from Karachi, somewhere up north, or she used to sometimes. So I felt she had lied to me. And the training she gave me, that I would now, you know, become quite angry when someone lied to me. I would I would be like a cat on a hot tin roof. And so this also hurt me very much. That no, she told me that she can't talk to me much now. She's leaving Karachi, something like this. The next time I go to her place and I see that her apartment uh, lights are open and that someone is there. So I don't know. And she was there. So, anyways, maybe she didn't go. There was some, but I felt like she was lying and trying to ignore me again. And sometimes she would act cold over the phone. She would turn cold on me. So again, this was happening to me, that Mr. Sa was turning cold on me over the phone every week. Like sometimes she would be really nice. Like when I called her about Gule, she told me, "Why didn't you call me earlier? I was looking for your." Now, you see, my promise with her was that every once a week, and this was a very fragile thing with her, a relationship, and we didn't have one. She would hardly talk. She wouldn't talk to me in the separation years, beginning also, disdainfully looked down when I passed by her. Sometimes, you know, go there or meet somewhere. So before 1989, I think yeah, yes, I think I made friends with her neighbors who would come down and help me and all this. So I found very strange behavior of Mr. Sa. And so most of my life, uh, late teens, no, from 15 now onwards, it was terrible. The separation of this. Uh, and she was so disciplined. She used to go to church. I felt like I felt very, very guilty, very a criminal. I felt I had to end my life. I couldn't look at myself. I couldn't look at the future of my life. Once in 1989, she was kind enough that night, to tell me, take a moment at a time, and that she loved me, but that our friendship was dead. Now, that also I couldn't understand. If you love a person, like her neighbor and I were discussing, her neighbor told me, well, if she loved you without the really even, I don't understand why she would let you stand outside her house and not open the door for you and things like that. Okay, so this bus and then in St. Joseph's College, there was something happened, and I felt a miracle had happened in my life. But I think it was that my cousin had graduated now from double graduation from California University, and that's why that slate, I felt the black slate lift from my body once my eyes were open. I was like, what is this? What have I seen? Like a black sheet lifted from head to toe, from like maybe not head, but here chest until it just lift. When it lifted, I could see maybe, and yeah, in front of my eyes. Like so, I was like, "What is this? I've never seen something like this before." Uh, I had a dream that a woman, black like spirit, was after me, and I was running before that, but it was a dream. But never with my eyes open have I seen something like this. So before joining, I think my cousin had come and they wanted me to marry my cousin, Sabah Sejwani. And there was also, like when my grandmother was in Karachi, my father's mother, I had a feeling she used to do black magic on us. Oh, no, I didn't have that feeling, sorry. I was in fact told by someone that she, and it wouldn't be surprising that they used to live in Karachi, that they can do this because she was very, very wicked. So, and even her sons and, her daughter was terrible with me when they would come to London when we stayed there. Oof. Um, you know, all the time criticizing me and all this. My life wrecked. In St. Joseph's College, then this healthy love came, feeling that emptiness, I can take it, and all this. I thought it was a miracle. But I think that my father has been involved. For my father, it's like only with his family you can, like I think uh, he also has been involved in this. My my life being wrecked. Uh, I think he wanted us to die or something. I don't know. But it got stronger when my brothers left for Dubai. My siblings, sister, the attack on me, and that when I did law, he was scared perhaps that I would become a lawyer, and if I become a lawyer, a criminal is always scared. And if the criminal, Don, मैं हूँ Don, is in my house, so I think he planned to make me go insane. And now his favorite daughter was from the other wife, and you should see how he treated them. And he totally ignored us, my brothers, and all this. Like Faru John, never have I heard him say that, to call us in that way. My brothers, my sister, my poor youngest sister. So uh, I should have been my mother's daughter, actually. But when she was alive, the way they had put things between us, I couldn't give her that love and affection. So, teachers, I would say that, you know, recently, uh, I can't talk about that. I've spoken about that on the live Facebook live stream. Um, I don't think it's my principal's fault. I think there was something even in St. Joseph's College. Meningitis case came. A girl fell unconscious in the parlor, but this meningitis case did not end in St. Joseph's College. Sorry for the background. Someone's dropped something. If you heard this, sorry. So yes, the meningitis case in St. Joseph's College. A girl fell. And I thought, God has given me such a miracle. I didn't connect this with my enemy or anything. Then the Bosnia also war. My principal's official birthday was on in a passport, 6th April. Excuse me, but that was not her real birthday. So the Bosnian war, I checked, started on 6th April 1992. She got an extension. She was retiring from her now 10 years or 8 years in St. Joseph's College. And now she was retiring, but she got an extension, 2 years. And so I did my BA. Otherwise, I would have also just done the intermediate. So 6th April, Bosnian War. And in Karachi, when I became mad, and they were saying, Bibi Fatma Zahra's help is with you, and you will know everything you're being told. And I used to ask often this and that, and it became a habit like this, right? So, like, who is this? Who is doing this? My body hurting, all that. So a principal, my father told me that the principal didn't respond properly, and that even when I wanted to speak to her about something, I felt now the enemy has come, because her son also complained about something and asked for some prayer amulet, tawiz, in front of me, came to his mother. So I got suspicious. Uh, Now, you see, this Mutahar, my aunt, had become rich like all of a sudden. Her husband was a tutor, right? How could she become rich? She had to take her aunt, my grandaunt's apartment in Karadar in Karachi and live there because her husband could not even afford his own apartment. So, something really funny that Kashmiris were involved, and my grandmother had Kashmiri workers Safdar in that house in Karachi. Uh, and then he left when they left, and he went to Oman. So Kashmiris involved in this, terrorists involved, I think, because you know, oh, I've already spoken about this. Khadija Zaidi's father died, passed away tragically in Gulf Air crash just after my birthday, where Miss Desai and I enjoyed. We had a nice time. She wasn't disciplining me. It was now 1983, and I was going to the psychologist. She had prayed so much for me to go to. So we were going fine at that time. So we had a nice time. But the newcomers in the family, their sisters, were not didn't give us a nice time on that birthday. When Miss Desal left, without hearing the songs, they had a fight with me. Outside my house, they were screaming against me, shouting things. So I also shouted back at them. Because when I approached them in a very civil manner. Was, and then our friend told me that they had messed up your birthday. They tried to. So I don't know who was involved, but to get us. So my mind was going wild in year 2000, thinking who could it be? Because the lady in London, clairvoyant, when I was doing law there, also told me that there's someone, not only my family members, like then my father, someone could say that, you know, they are like my mother's family side, something, and this is all your illusion, delusion, or whatever you call it, वहम है, तुम लोगों को जादू के बारे में बहुत है, and why are your aunts putting you into this jadoo thing, black magic. But a lady in London told me my symptoms exactly as I felt it, but she was surprised that I can get out of bed. She said I should be bedridden. And then what happened in London was that I felt that I was being scared because the meningitis flyers came from NHS um, to our hostel. And I didn't know at that time, that year, that I was told later that as a student, even as a foreign student, you can go to NHS if you feel you're not well. I was in my room, and I had very high fever. I couldn't get up for a glass of water and to take a Panadol painkiller for the fever and all this medicine. So I called out to my mother, Amma, Amma, uh, like without calling her on the phone. I was in London, my mother was in Karachi, right? And when I went to Karachi for the vacation, she told me that you called out to me, but I mumbled like, no, 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 because I really didn't want her to know. But my voice reached her in Karachi without the telephone or any fax or anything. And so my neck was also paining back, and I could, I was like, oh my God. So I was told by my uncle when he came to London, my father's younger brother, they invited me, my father and my father's younger brother, Kamal, uncle, they were in the Baker Street casino. They invited me for dinner. So I went there, and so my uncle told me, because he had come to London from Dubai, right? All my father's family is in Dubai. So he told me that there's been a bet in Dubai that in 6 months you're going to come back, go back to Karachi, leave London. You won't complete. a law degree. So, uh, uh, so I don't know why I'm saying this. What is the connection? But something started to happen to me. Like I felt, oh, because of the meningitis case too. Yeah, I pray to God, oh God, again they will get to my mother and they'll say, ah, Zahra's my life again, please let me do this. Because my father's side, they didn't like my mother. They discriminated, they tortured my mother when they were in Karachi a lot. So, so that was a long time ago, but the impact, it stayed on. My mother was very scared of them and would not come to Dubai. And she didn't. She passed away in Karachi, and that's when I came to Dubai. This. And I left Karachi for good. Now I can't go back there. So let me just. So in my life, my feelings for the principal, I thought I would never, the guilt I felt. And when this thing lifted, and now I could accept the separation with Miss Tessa and my life without her, I couldn't see for one moment without her my life. Like we should be friends. At least I know we're friends. And again, we're like family friends. So anyhow, so I couldn't take that, but now I could take it in St. Joseph's College. 1989, Bibi Mariam gave me a miracle, and I thanked God and I thanked Bibi Mariam like anything. I have no words for that. And I felt the guilt also that I was not able to forgive myself go away, and I was able to forgive myself. And I took 1 year to see no cards, nothing. And so I would start, if the principal was very nice, like, she was very motherly with me, she was very understanding, very cooperative. So I asked Baby Mariam, because I felt she had given me the miracle of my life that I really needed. Uh, but I was not going to get attached to the principal, but that I would keep my heart open. And if she wants to come in, she can come in. And when she wants to leave, she can leave gracefully. I would not complain, respect her. She may scold me, she can, but as a teacher, also, it's principal. Teachers can scold me. I've never complained or even in my mind, never abused them for scolding me at times. So, meningitis care in St. Joseph's College. Oh, yes, and the whole system changed when I joined St. Joseph's College. So, the sports teacher, actually, there was this Ernestine, our sports teacher in St. Michael's School, and she would tell me, leave this A levels, join a college. I think you should go to college. She saw me as she really liked my sports thing. She said, why don't you join college? You will be able to get more out of that college, local or Pakistani college than here. You need to go to college. So uh, what happened is tragedy. My vice principal, Miss Desas, long time ago, hockey partner, passed away, had a heart attack, and I got very, very this thing. Miss Desa became cold with me during the phone conversation when she had told me, "What makes you think that I would leave you just like that?" Goulet had come in that year and scolded me for being a lesbian, blaming me. And I was like, "What?" So at that time, there was no way I could get near a lesbian. I couldn't get near a lesbian. How could I be a lesbian? And then I had to also, the therapy was not working on me. I felt it was failing miserably, or I was failing the therapy miserably. And I went to an institute of yoga. Um, I asked uh, he said, Professor Moy said it's, what is it? It's a reincarnation. He tested my finger with some uh, metal thing, object, putting it on my middle finger. And he asked me to think about Mr. Saul as I was lying there. And he said, yes, yes, it's reincarnation. Then he turned against me and said later on that it's obsession. Professor Moyes now is referred to as Dr. Moyes. So things were not working out for me. Uh, he told me he could not hypnotize me. I was an intense person, and that, okay, I pressed on. So he said, okay, do some gardening and do the exercises I give you. He gave me some exercises. I couldn't do gardening and all that. But later on, he was like very, he didn't give, like, I felt that he was an angry person also. Like, when I met him, he would uh, when I became insane, when I met him, there was a time when I felt he was not someone I can go to. And then the air blue crash and all this. So the one who had made me go insane and now telepathic, now it was getting worse in year 2009, somewhere air blue crash, when air blue crash. Now I thought, oh my God. Now it was hitting me, but I couldn't accept it that this madness is schizophrenia. And now it was like uh, every time it was like, we are healing you, and you're going to get married, and this and that. Dreams coming, religious dreams coming. But nothing like that happened, and they got me mad. And so I was scared for my Christian friends. Uh, Due to some other, so wondering who could be doing this to me. And the principal, about the principal is very, very painful for me to talk. I don't know whether the enemy got there, but when I came back from London, she started to heavily criticize me. Although I was told in St. Joseph's College by a palmist student who was really good palmist I met, that we will be separated for 2 years, and that there's nothing I can do, and it would not be because of me, but that it would be a personal problem. So I said prayers. She said no, it's not going to work. I said charity. She said no, even charity is not going to work, and all this. So she told me about my marriage, which year, but didn't happen. But she told me one thing, another thing which happened, came true, was that 87% chances are that you will go abroad for higher studies. And I was like, no, 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 I don't want to go abroad for higher studies. BA is enough for me. I was having a difficult time by then again, but there was this future thing that I'm going to get well. I might find a miracle. So recently, I've been trying I've already said this. I hope you know that I have been trying mantras and all this. They were helping me. All of a sudden, I got stronger attacks when I was calling out to Paramahamsa Vishwananda also that, and the master had given a mantra for someone. His disciple said that master said that you can recite this if you have a physical or a mental problem, the mantra. So when I started that mantra, it got worse on me. And so I started to uh, doubt even this master for being true, or not. Like I started to doubt him. And I had another lady had scolded me at my friend's wedding, very old friends of ours in from not only from London. I think I remember meeting them, Gokul family, but she is married to the Gokul, Abbas Gokul, and she's Indian, originally Indian Muslim. So she had scolded me when she came to Karachi once. I met her at my friend's wedding, her family member also, and blamed me for doing something in Karachi American school and got blah, 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 like it just flew over my head. And, you know, so this Indian lady, originally married to Abbas Gokul, then when I saw Abbas Gokul's uncle's case, I was like, what? Actually, I wanted to make a Facebook group, and my father stopped me later on when I told my father about it. Uh, you know, for Abbas Gokul, Abbas uncle. When we were in London in childhood, they were our uh, uh, family friends, and my mother's uncle, no, cousin, came to marry their uh, either Mustafa uncle's their sister or Fozia auntie is. So they were a great family and everything. Great family. So the bomb blast in, you see, Samira auntie, Masuma auntie, her sister, older sister, married to Mustafa Gokul. They're sisters. Samira auntie became a very close friend of my mother. We used to call her because Shahudi also became my friend. And she was in Auntie Leli Begum school, Irani school, when I was very small. My mother had put me when I was in school when I was 2.5 years old, an Iranian school near our house. All the Shias going there who were living in Karachi at that time, most of the Shias and all. So then I found out Shahudi, I knew that Shahudi was in Auntie Leli Begum school, Irani school with me. We became good friends and all this. So once Samira auntie in London, 1976, was telling my mother that we will go to this home exhibition in London, oh, in somewhere, right? When so, then the bomb blast happened, but coincidentally, here also someone's intuitions, Shahudi intuitions helped. We left because Samira auntie, who was so like they were planning it. I remember going to the room and my mother's room, and Samira auntie was saying, uh, you know, we'll go to this home exhibition. And so she had planned it and she invited my mother. And that's how my mother came to know about this. And we went. But that day when we reached the home exhibition, 1976, Shahudi started to tell her mother, Samira auntie, and they're from Gokul family, related and family friends, yeah, so of course the sister is Mustafa uncle's wife, Masuma auntie. We went there and Shahudi started to say, Mama, let's go home, let's go home. Now Shahudi wouldn't stop. So Samira auntie said, spoke to her, I think in Urdu, answered her, "Ke Shahudi, abhi to aaye hain. We've just come, just now." Uh, but Shahudi wouldn't stop telling her mother, "Let's go home." So Samira auntie said to my mother, "Let's go." Shahudi's not stopping. It's a good thing we listened. Her mother even listened to her daughter. We were very young then, like 8 years old or 7 years old, or right, 7 or 8 years old. Shahudi and I, think, are the same age, or maybe Sukaina and I. Sukaina, Abbas Gokul's daughter. Both of them were my friends, but I became very close to Shahudi. So what happened is we left for home. They came to our place, and then Samira auntie's husband, Askari uncle, called and said that there's been a bomb blast. What internet problem am I having? Please check your internet. So this happened, and I never gave much thought to it. I don't think we opened the TV to watch the news. Shodi and I were just together, and so it's difficult now even to watch that bomb blast video, home exhibition. 1976, London. This one, Ideal Home Exhibition in London. See the date, 27th March, 1976. 76. Later on, when I went to London for law studies, so I've done all the retrospection in year 2000 about these things. Someone is after me, terrorist, Gulf Air crash, where we lost, where Khadija Zaidi lost her great father, great man. He was such a great man, Pakistani, um, in that Gulf Air crash, going from Karachi to Abu Dhabi. So Miss Disa, on the soyam of Mr. Zaidi, was not talking to me. I was shocked. Life gone. Um, at my classmates' father's soyam, much less. We went to their house, Khadija Zaidi's house. Miss Disa was not talking to me. We had a disagreement, some problem like that, and even a disagreement where Miss Disa would stop talking to me. She wouldn't punish me, but this was the greatest punishment she gave to me, was to stop talking to me. So Gulf Air crash also. Gulf Air. If I could get this Gulf Air crash. Khadija Zaidi's father was in this. I think I will take you to. Uh, So there's a story behind Khadija Zaidi being a Shia, not participating in the dancing uh, that took place in PE, or physical education, in Karachi American School during a PE period during Ramadan. Oh, sorry, Muharram. Sorry, Muharram. Correction. The month of Muharram. Starting the month of Muharram, Miss Tissa started the dancing class, gave us dancing period, right? So it wasn't ending. There's a story behind it. And Khadija Zaidi being a Shia Sayyid. Zaidi we thought were Sayyids. Um, her father passed away in this, we lost in this tragic Gulf Air crash. Wikipedia, thank you. 23rd September 1983. So I was scared for my father. I came back, I remember, kept the lights open, went to sleep. It was a depressing time. My father used to travel a lot also, but we lost Khadija Zaidi's father. They lost their great father. I mean, he was a great man. I met him once. I was introduced to him. Khadija Zaidi herself introduced us to her father, her classmates. I was there. Coincidentally, he came in the gym area from top. So it was the stadium staircase there. And Khadija Zaidi said, Baba, this is my classmate Zahra. And I said, hello. I said, hello. Very nice man, very a gentleman. So remember a month, like, my birthday, just after my birthday, this happened. I was very happy with Mr. Sa and on my birthday, and it happened after this. So are terrorists involved? And in London, a Palestinian girl who came as a student to Alban College, and this is about Abu Nidal. So I would have been trapped in an assignment where this Palestinian girl called me, Rula was her name, Arola. You see, the group that was that planted a bomb, Palestinian nationalist militant group, Abu Nidal organization. Palestinian. So Palestinian girl in London, very nice. She also came to my hostel, very nice, and they could not suspect her of any bad or anything. When she saw a silver Quran in my next to my bedside, she she like put it on her eyes, kissed it, and like we kiss it, put it on our two eyes and kiss it, and like that. She was a Muslim Palestinian. She came. She had called me, telling me about the land assignment question and answer in London when I was doing my law, 1995 to 1998. Uh, I think it was second year. She called me. I was in my room in the hostel, and she told me that there's this question and answer book that you get from the shop, college shop. And she found it, and you can copy the whole assignment. It's the same question, and so you just have to copy it, but don't write the book's name. Don't mention the book in the reference, right, of the assignment. I said, okay. Then there was this in year 2000, um, Gulf, no, no, sorry, Air Blue, Air Blue crash. So you know how I get with the, like, I get very aggravated, agitated. Somewhere in year 2000, where is it? Can't remember the year. Let me see. Margala Hills. Oh, I can put Air Blue Crash, Margala Hills. So Libby, my friend, who was a air hostess in British Airways, had joined now Air Blue Crash. Oh, sorry, Air Blue. Sorry, Air Blue Airlines. Sorry, I'm very slow at this now. Uh, yeah, this is the one. 28th July is my cousin's, one of my second cousin's birthday. Controlled flight into terrain caused by pilot error. So the pilot, now I had this finger thing, what do you call it? Telepathic and the thing, energy controlling me. And the pilot was telling me that the thing, blame will come on me. And I was like, oh, sorry, salutations to you. So, like, my father's family blaming me all the time for being this and like that. And even Miss Dessa blaming me. And then my principal also, when I came back from London, heavily started to criticize me of being possessive and whatnot. And the moment you saw my face, it was like, so since college, like my father explained to her that she was the firstborn, and no, no, I was the first surviving born. I was not the firstborn. My infant sister died, and also due to negligence, Salwa, my mother's daughter, my sister, after me, was killed. In the sense that accident happened, the ayah, the caretaker of my infant sister, Salwa, another one, she was feeding her in a bottle, and she herself went to sleep and she was choked. So in year 2000, I was getting this that they will hurt my friends. So Libby D'Souza in British Airways, after leaving British Airways, she joined Air Blue. She was here now working in this airline. So here is the, where is it? Where the captain, oh yes, and my room's AC, the gas had leaked out or something, and that day was terrible. I had to go downstairs and sleep in the downstairs room. AC was not that good. And there I was being told, coming down. You see here, harsh, snobbish tone. Captain Chaudhary berated his co pilot and humiliated him in a harsh, snobbish tone. So I was being told that it's not the pilot's fault. Someone has hijacked this plane and they want the pilot to act this way. Like my mind, maybe from a distance or something, I don't know. You see, like when I came back from London, my principal was in a very bad, like every time she would see me, be straight, be straight. And I tried to tell her that, like here, it's not my fault. Humil- Humiliated him in a harsh, snobbish tone. Someone is behind me, like the clairvoyant lady said in London, after my case. But she wouldn't. I told her over the phone about this, but she changed. She wouldn't listen to me. She was like, now she was like, be straight, discipline yourself, don't love me so much, find a life partner over the phone in London with me when I used to call her. And then things like that going on. Uh, so, what is this really? So, that's why I had to also bring my case out open. Libby D'Souza was now working on this airline, but not as a stewardess. She even designed, I think she helped in the interior designing of this Air Blue. And I'm also having now, it's some on and off lolling of tongue on my right side of a man who had come as Masood. What was he had apologized and all this. He said, "You're my sister. I'm really sorry, but I still feel at times his face and the lolling of the tongue here in my vision, but very close to comes like this kind of thing." So the principle also, like whenever I've been stubborn, all my life, you see, then when I was working for a lawyer, they were saying that they're going to hurt the building and things like that. Flying as low as a four-story building. One told the New York Times that the aircraft was flying as low as a four-story building. And you know, at that time, my principal had Margala car, Margala. And I saw her once. My father was taking us out when this madness and headaches and hot and cold, sweat and for 4 or 5 days or a whole week. Just before that, my principal was in Margala, her car. She had a Margala car. My father took us out for Pan to Sindhi Muslim Society, and I saw her car in front of us when we reached Gora Kabristan Road. We were going to Sindhi Muslim Society for the Pan. And so, दामन छरक के कहाँ चले, found near daman echo. So I had written a poem for Mrs. Munira Gulzar when I went to her house, and my daman hit, I mean my just I, what it my dupatta, the hem of my scarf, Pakistani, they wear this, just it was her father's picture. It dropped on the table in a frame, her father's picture. They used to keep in the living room. So daman charak ke kahan chale. I had written this poem. So this all, I really, but in college I had to take some drastic measures because I thought the principal was having problems with her husband, and I wanted her to be with her husband, and that she had, there was something lacking, that she felt that maybe she was trying to tell me something in college, and I wanted her to be like, I can never marry the person who did harm to me um, earlier. So now it could never be the same for her and her husband, like that. Some relationships end, some people die before their death. It's like that. I didn't know, because you see, I didn't know it was that serious between her and her husband. There's something about her husband. She was never happy with her husband. Uh, I felt so. I thought I had to do something so that she would think I'm bad, and that it would take her back to her husband, like that. So, but I don't know. Some, some people being framed, some people being trapped, some people have to keep quiet in certain circumstances and to make the sacrifice. So I would have left college badnamed, like the teacher would have seen me taken to the principal. And then when the teachers didn't take me to the principal, I had to go myself to the principal's office. But even that was ignored by the principal. And I was like, ooh, my plan failed. I had to take some drastic measures. So, like that, we should please empaths, like please reach out to empaths. We need to get together. We need to make a group, but I am afraid there's also a very high, this terrorist groups and all. They may have some, uh, what do you call that? Black magic or some spiritual. And then this time it got to the obsessive thing disorder. Like Haris Sultan or some ex-Muslims would also say that, atheists would say that. They dismissed my thing on like I was saying, please consider reincarnation. Please consider, like, if you were thinking, talking about science, consider quantum physics also. But Haris Sultan claims to be a champion, I mean, human rights, help help out in the human rights. But those things were dismissed by him, ignored on Khalib Kamal's channel. But you say, You see, these therapies and all this, they don't work properly. And so I had to take recourse to, I thought I had got help to fight the evil in this world as much as I can to destroy the energy so that even if people feel jealous, it will backfire. Because in the Quran ayat, we are told one ayat that the evil that you do goes back to you. The evil that they do, that they do, goes back to them. I've read this, oh God, goes back to them. So I was trying to, not to harm the person who is doing evil, but to just, I had an idea, and this is, but there came a time when they said, you have to, uh, they're attacking very much, and so we're going to attack the person now who's attacking us psychically. Okay. And we tested them with good time. So they would return. No. Can't find that. Whoever does good deed, it is for himself, and whoever does evil, it is against the self. Oh yes, something like this. Yeah, this comes close to. I think it's like it's this one. You see? So whoever does a good deed, it is for himself. And whoever does evil, it is against the self. So their self. But what I experienced is terrible. So anyone now here, we want to like Anita Murjani, in America, Shirley, is it Jennifer? Sorry, not Shirley, Jennifer McLean, Jennifer McLean. Uh, no, not this one. The one with the spiritual masters healing. So, any ideas? Uh, brainstorming or whatever, spiritual healing masters. How do you spell her? Did I spell her last name correctly? No. Master Jennifer McLean, evolutionary leaders, Hay House, online. Look at what these Americans are really doing. But since she's with Marianne Williamson, I had to leave again the mass because you Marianne Williamson I felt was that girl in Karachi American School who uh, sorry about this thing goes off. I have to light it again and again. Jennifer McLean with Marianne Williamson and that girl who abused Miss Desai in PE. I think now it's been a long time I've been uh, so I had to leave. Sorry, but I find Jennifer McLean very good. America, at least they're helping each other with this. Then we have Anita Murjani's book also. They're doing their best. Anita Murjani. There's Dr. Deepak Chopra, Anita Murjani. But why this Anita Murjani? is because on empaths, there are people who won't leave their jobs, who are so careerized that innocent people get caught. Empath quiz, the power of the empaths in an dot dot dot. This is the book Amazon.com. You can get it on Google. Empath Evolution from Anita Morjani, Facebook. Some of the hypocrites in this, they have work. They're very disciplined. They're very, very strong. So little people like us can get trampled upon in a way that we'll have to leave. There's a good song from this Indian movie, खोया है जिसने प्यार मैं हूं ना. So he leaves. Thank you for the likes, actually. Three of you, God bless you. I think there are two of us, but I don't see three likes here. खोया मैं हूं ना. So this, the video of this मैं हूं ना song. Not, I'm so tired now. Uh, Song. He has to leave. He's. I haven't seen this movie, but the video I see that the sad one. He leaves the college. I don't know why. The video on this song. So he's shaking hands, meeting all his. He leaves college or university or educational system. So please, thank you for, thank you Nelly, thank you everyone for this 2 hours here now. 3 hours on Facebook page live stream. I think 3 hours and 25 minutes. I'm going. I mean, I'm like losing it much, and now I'm really sometimes very scared. Mental asylum, here I come. Cause see, against now I can't shake off my principle. She is inside of me. I feel. And what happened is yesterday was every fiber of mine hurting me. I couldn't get up. And today also surviving on snacks and sandwiches. I can't prepare food. I don't have the ability. I don't know why I'm sitting here really scared and feeling small to order food. So I'll just have some. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting. I have some noodles, you know, instant noodles. So I'll make that. And if so, we need something like, what Anita Murjani has started for empaths in America, but all over the world. She must, of course, she would love to reach out to every one of us, and no one's sacrifice even should go unheard. The people we loved, but okay, unfortunately, my love, my good intentions go into this mental disorder of obsession. So, what can we do? So, hatred, um, even by the ones we love towards us. So, hope to see some teachers also who, I mean, I think that we have prayers, our Shia Dua book, someone out there, but now we have a social media. So, you people like me, when I was like, don't reputation, don't, let the other person you love बदनाम उसको उनको नहीं करना रिस्पेक्ट करना प्रिंसिपल को रिस्पेक्ट करना no matter what happens and things like that, the sacrifices for the beloved, saving beautiful relationships, please, understanding hearts. Nelly, if you are able and you have time, please let us do more. Uh, you know, if we can reach people before they go into a mental disorder, we can sit and talk when the child, the student, is trying to reach out. We should communicate, give an ear, understanding hearts, rather than be selfish and say, "This is not my problem," or "You've graduated. Now I have nothing to do with you." Uh, so care and reach out. You can save lives. Mental illness also can be, before they go into this self destruction, obsessive behavior. I think we can save lives, not by severing ties with those we love. If we can see that they can talk together and work it out and both cooperate, like one thing, um, the Miss Desas from the community, Goan Pakistani, who had come, a priest, Father Augustine from America. So he told me that he could help out. He came to my house also and tried to help my mother, because she had now found out that her husband is married officially to another woman. So, like that, going to people's houses, excuse me, like a social worker, and letting and being, you have to compassionate and sincere and honest and with compassion. Being a mediator where we don't let our, whatever interest or selfishness come in the way. So I need such great people like Nelly I found here, and there could be others. And I need your voices in the help me, help others, reach out, encourage communication where, I mean, in every situation, sitting together, not seeing. I mean, you can see the person alone, but I think it wrecked the therapist uh, wrecked by severing our relationship, saying that yes, you should, and it's unhealthy, and it's obsession, and then people coming, and they're, the whole society, they're giving this for people to talk. So as much as we can to destroy these evil things in our society, evil ways, wicked, mean ways. So to nip it in the bud before a person can go get worse. Therapy didn't help me. I felt needed God's help, spirituality. Self help books then came, in addition to therapy, going to therapy in my teenage years through until 20, 19, 20 years old, from 14 years to 19, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 7 years in therapy. It was getting worse, and I had to take uh, recourse to an institute, a professor of yoga. I had to also go to Father Augustine, who told me that he would work out together with Miss Tissa, because he was a priest, and where Miss Tissa was going for the catechumenic prayers, he was now here with them there, uh, since he had come from America and done sorry, he had done a degree thing on counseling. So a certificate, he had received a certificate on counseling. So he said, now he decide. He said, I know Miss Desai and I can request her. I think it's true love. I do believe now. I see it. He's like where he said that we should now work it out together, and then you can come to me, and I'll speak to Miss Disa, and then you don't have to go overboard with her. He was doing this I'm okay, you're okay book with me, like, child. So he was explaining to me very nicely how I have this big child and that I should use some adult part. And he explained to me the parent part, drawing circles and all that on the board. He was working in this way. That we should work. When I at first said that we should work it out this way, they said no. Now, by that time, I was like, I was trying to change myself and I couldn't change myself. And I said, again, if I say something that Miss Desa may not like, I've already disturbed her, felt guilty to no end. And I said to Father Augustine that no, but she also had said no when I called her friend. And then in London, when I went for the law degree, there also on the phone, over the phone, she said no. I felt like a piece of shit on the road when I called her from London when, doing law there. So, what can we do uh, when even the principal, the headmistress, the boss, you know, gaslighting, covert narcissist? I mean, it wrecks a person's life. Because some people, they're such empaths, or we start to get. I have seen how I become, like, get zapped into this negativity, and it's very difficult to pick myself up from this self-destruction. It becomes unhealthy obsession. You can't shake this person. You say, leave me, get out of my body. But I still find this person, the principal, in my body. And then yesterday, worst thing happened when I was very angry at Mrs. Munira Gulzar's action or actions, or what she said. Uh, I felt a man creeping inside my body, and I didn't care. I was in such a negative thing like that. So you can really get a it's a terrible, hellish spiral, trap, or some cell. So, so wouldn't it be good if we listen to each other with honesty and we communicated in loving, kind, honest ways? So we might save many those people who can go into these psychological problems. But unfortunately, the principal was not responding well. My father said that she didn't respond properly, didn't get a good response from her. When he met her at the airport, she said that she tried her best in college with me, she was sympathizing all the time, and I gave her a hard time or something like that. Um, she made me feel like she had done her best and I was the one troubling her. That's what my father said when he met her, and she told him that she had done her best with me, as if she kept me in college for some her aim to, you know, to show off that she had helped me. So please don't do that to people, right? Just for your to give that name and fame to yourself, that I helped this girl in college trying my best, and she's a pest, and she was, as she was a pest to Mr. Saw, once a pest, always a pest, and once obsessive, always obsessive, and things like that. So you don't have to worry about your occupations or your jobs or your possessions or your family. But please go beyond that also if you really care for people, and not superficially, just for the occupation. If there are people out there who, like in Dangerous Minds, the movie, Dangerous Mind, oh, this is my ideal teacher, really. The way Dangerous Minds, not Liaisons. Yes, Michelle Pfeiffer is in it. So let's learn from these movies also. Let's get inspiration, save lives. Sometimes hard times come, challenging, and what is challenging is not a flood, but that human beings create such a psychic, uh, uh, such evils, vibrations, and feelings and challenges, so we can do something. So, Nelly, thank you so much for this. Uh, let's hope we can do more. And I'm so grateful to social media, YouTube, that I use a lot, and Facebook for my live streams. Of so I okay, obsessive love, and I even gave it here to the Hindus. Like what I came across such hardcore atheists like Haris Sultan, who claims to help human beings, but so it really got to me because now Haris Sultan, someone I can pick on. Uh, so let's not make it a profession that we cannot live without, and that if we retire, we will go crazy, or a habit. But let's be compassion so that we don't make it into a profession that we don't want to leave. And we might get paid, we might not get paid. And some of us who are family, we have the riches, we don't need money, we have the inheritance. We can at least, if our father did that great thing for us, so we can at least work without wanting money, for the money, for the uh, positions, for the seat, but for helping out and reaching out to people whom we could save from mental agony, uh, disturbance. Reach out on time and keep communication open. But like my aunt and I were saying, जिसको एहसास नहीं है उसको हम एहसास नहीं दिला सकते. The one who doesn't have that feeling, we cannot give that feeling to that person. So in college, whatever the person showed is magnanimous and clement and all this. But after college or something, little something happens, and then who has stolen my driver, and all this going on. So, and something you have done in your past, and now you want this person to discipline herself because felt that you disciplined yourself. So all this discipline nonsense, some people cannot do. The cases are different. Maybe they had a mother who wasn't well. Maybe you have to put yourself in that person's shoes before you criticize that person. So you see, this discipline without love, no devotion to God even can work. Your worship to God, your prayers will be thrown back at you, Quran ayat says. Not that I believe in the Quran ayat, but some Quran ayats are good ones. I can give an example from. The So I was in this. So Haris Sultan talking about, and you know how they go on about India against India. So I also recently became against the Indian gods and all the worship and all that. I said this is a sham, and what this is not Devi telling me. Devi will never come to me. No one can. Uh, what now? Devi is going to come and give, this means if I met Amrita Ram Lochan, they were saying it was Maha Avatar in London. Huh? Is Maha Avatar going to come to court to give my alimony or, what excuse or reason or defense for my defense? I went mad in year 2000. No Maha Avatar. So is this Radharani's, like, they made it divine, this crazy obsession? And the scientist, the medical science says it's six symptoms of mental illnesses. This medical science says this love obsession. You see what medical science says about this love. Is obsession love a mental illness? Since obsessive love disorder is not classified as a mental health condition, it is hard for it to have an identifiable cause. However, it has been linked to other mental health disorders such as post traumatic stress disorder. So, you see, if we can avoid this post traumatic stress disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and borderline personality disorder, how can we avoid these things? These things that we are, you see, like how in religion we are told that someone's sin, parent's sin, um someone can get to, you can have that vibe coming. So if you're hiding it, one good thing in I was told in Hinduism is that they don't hide the this, you see, whatever the bad things, the Kama Sutra, whatever it is, they don't hide it. They show it. So you see, the person will not get a shock of their life from you. Let's say if you have been a lesbian and then later on you get married, but you're hiding you're Muslim, problem occurs in Muslim societies, would occur, is that when this person has hidden her or his gay or her lesbian thing, and they feel they have done their discipline, and so they got married, they sacrificed, or they felt sympathy or compatibility with the husband to be. So I think, you know, to put yourself in that high position, champion. I am, I did it. I uh, overcame, and put someone else down, and then say, be straight and be disciplined. So I was very angry at these people, these hypocrites, two faced, who want to, and such power they have. They're so strong to destroy others. And when the principal's husband told me, invited me to golf club with him, she became like an insecure wife. She told her husband, I was obliged to say yes, but in our house, I was obliged to say yes. And her, I said, Mommy, you are also coming with us. I didn't say with us, but like you're also coming. So, how do you think the one child will feel if the father is giving more favoritism to that person? Right? When you here are saying, when you yourself have traveled with the boys and men in your life earlier as a table tennis player, and now you're saying to your husband that how stupid you are, stupid taking, and you, I am also stupid, she's saying. One day in her house, I was a victim of what her husband. Now, what can I do? Her husband invited me for golf. Oh my God. And she's saying that, what will the people think? Both of you are stupid. My head, like, what would the people think? He's an uncle. Maybe you don't trust your husband. And maybe you don't even trust yourself then. These people, what would the people think when you were going out with a group of men, tennis table players? But still, it's like if he's taking me for golf, the people can follow us and see that we're going to golf club. But what hypocrisy, what two faced. Oh my God. It's amazing in in Pakistan, in the Muslim society where there is, oh, ho, ho. And then you want your reputation, you want your intact, right? Your family name, to protect that. So this double face, this two-faced people, hypocrites, they're very, very strong. They can protect, they can get away with murder. They can get away with murder. So how I was and how this principal was, she brought her insecurity in the college. She brought that anger against her husband, I think, who told me, let's go for golf. And I said, Mommy, you are also coming? And she said, I feel very bad to call her Mommy now, from now on, but just for the past. Uh, she said, no, 3 o'clock. Mr. Gulzar, her husband, said, come, we'll go to golf club. So she got very angry, upset with this, and then she's gone. And we were at the dining table, and then she sat in with her husband, where her husband watches the TV, her late husband. So, and okay, so whatever she said there, deception. Have you seen this movie, Deceptions, and all that? God knows what her husband did to her or what he was, I don't know. But she brought this insecurity in college, and she used me, I felt. The vibes I got at that time. So for me, you know, I couldn't take it because I love loyalty to husband, faithful. So for me, it was like a shock. I thought I was getting some vibes from her. Even if 1% I'm right about the vibes or this in college, I had to take a drastic step to make myself badnaam, bad, notorious, so that she would kick me out of college. Because if I left like that, maybe the secretary, I would get a call where, and I may not be able to then say no. I don't want to come to college. But then when my problem came, you see, I was very understanding. I didn't talk to anyone about this at that time, not friends, not my mother. And I would have gotten into trouble, so ashamed going home. And my mother would have looked at me and said, and would have gotten a call from the principal that your daughter like this, because the first time she told me, the principal, that she wanted to call my mother, this time I would not have said no, don't call my mother. This time I would have just kept quiet and said, okay, let her call my mother. And then when I have all this, right, when I felt some problem, went to speak to her, she became very self defensive. So I respect those people who are honest, who go out of their way to help people. It might be too late. I couldn't save my mother because, she wanted a husband. She had sacrificed for me. She told me she didn't get married for me. And she told her aunt in front of me, when her aunt, who had brought her up, had come after such a long time. She loved this aunt of hers to London, and so said that get a divorce from your husband if you're not getting along with him, you and him. So she said to my aunt, or my grandaunt, aunt, that for me, because I was very close to my father, I was very attached to my father. And that's what she used to tell me, that I didn't get married because of you. I sacrificed. And I used to call her selfish later on. Why are you being selfish? And actually, it was my father who got married, didn't care. He gave me this nikah with someone when I had separated from Miss Disa in the middle of the separation, 1986. I'm being told that your father, my Miss Disa, told me when I went to her place that you are using me as a scapegoat. or something, yeah? Because your father's married. She found out that my father's married. Then I found out that my father was married to a Tawaif lady. So had a nikah with her. And you see, but what they did to me and my mother, between me and my mother, and then I would ignore this jadoo, shadu, and black magic and all this. But the Quran ayat say that people do these things and you must get help. There's a Quran ayat that says that between husband and wife, so I think I'm going to, uh, I wanted to go back to the Quran ayats and see, but I think I'm right about the Quran, the Islam. I don't know where these ayats have come from, where stolen from. Uh, that separating husband and wife must take help. And you see, these ex-Muslims, through black magic. What is that? No, no, separating husband and wife through black magic. Okay, I don't want the azan to come on this. So I have to. Husband can. Oh, I'll try to search for this later. Thank you so much. Please reach out and don't be like those selfish people for name, fame. I know there are many outside uh, and trap people. Thank you so much.